Hello and welcome to They Think It's All Over. Now, it's been brought to our attention that in previous shows, our two team captains have come in for some, frankly, unjustified stick. So this week, it's Be Nice to David and Gary week. Captaining one side, the second highest run scorer in English Test history, David Gower, and accompanying him, a mouthy, bald bloke who retired from Victoria Park Junior High Jump team after he missed the mat completely and landed on his head. Lee Hurst. Leading the other side, England's finest striker of all time. Never been booked and scored 48 fabulous goals for his country, Gary Lineker. And with Gary, a beardy Neanderthal Arsenal supporter who gave up running marathons after his wide load sign fell off, Rory McGrath. With David this week, an England striker who plays in what's known in modern football as the hole, or as Rory McGrath calls it, White Hart Lane. Teddy Sheringham. Gary's special guest is a comedian who for the last 25 years has supported West Brom, a team nicknamed the Baggies on the grounds that that's what their shorts were like the last time they won anything. Frank Skinner.
How many trophies have Stoke won?
And the first round deals... Our first round deals with sporting excuses. David, Lee and Teddy, your excuse comes from Spain. Earlier this season, Seville's Real Betis, seen here playing local rival Sevilla, refused to let a season ticket holder into any more home games for the flimsy and pathetic reason that he had died the previous week. So what excuse were his family given for not being allowed to take the dead man into the ground?
Sounds to me like the sort of man actually they'd let into Stoke, isn't it?
Yes, you're probably right, David. What a fine joke and what a fine cricketer you were.
So I can say anything about you, like, why are you wearing Valerie Singleton's hair tonight?
Yes, you can say that.
Excellent, Ted. Pleasure to meet you, mate. Yes, nice to meet England striker. Because Gary used to do that, you know. Really? Yeah. How's your toes, mate? All right. Yeah. Very well. Because what I think, you know, toes very important as a striker. I mean, Douglas Bader loses legs, still flies in the Battle of Britain. Hey, oh, splinter in my toe.
Yeah, he's a dead good bloke, though.
He is.
So, as I was saying, there's this bloke, right? He's dead. They won't let him into the ground. What was the club's excuse for not
You've got a
letting him
dead fan going in. Is it because, like, he spoils the atmosphere? Because every time the Mexican wave gets to him, it just stops. Is it because it would upset, like, because, you know, if they started shouting out, who's the bastard in the black, the Undertaker would get upset.
Well, that's the closest so far.
It's all gone quiet over there. I think it's a good idea having dead people at the game, though, because it'd take the smell away from them burgers, wouldn't it?
It must be something peculiarly Spanish, because it doesn't happen in England, because Graham Kelly goes to every FA Cup final, doesn't he? I suppose week after week he looked less like the photo on his ID card.
I don't think we're going to get this, are we? Let's actually hear the explanation from a Real Betis fan.
The son had put his ashes in a glass container, so security wouldn't let him in.
He couldn't take a glass container of his father's ashes into the ground. I mean, it's coming to something, isn't it, when you can't take a bottle of pop to the game?
That's just so obvious, wasn't it?
But happily...
That's the best joke I've ever heard.
You sad case.
No, I love that joke. That's great.
But happily they did reach a compromise.
So he put him in a milk cartoon. And so the next derby between Betis and Sevilla, the Sevilla fans waved lots of milk cartoons to pull our legs.
Yep. They actually put his ashes in a milk carton, and to prove it, we sent our cameras to Real Betis to capture the excitement of the local derby. So, Gary, Rory and Frank, Another exotic foreign excuse for you. Yours comes from Airdrie, and their sometime goalkeeper Alan Davidson. Here he is in fine form for his previous club, Ards. Davidson's excuse for missing a key game was that he had a long-running addiction problem. And the question is, what did he say he was addicted to?
Was it drugs, drink and gambling, and he was away having a trial for Arsenal?
Is the correct answer. It's not.
Was he addicted to grandstand? Well, didn't miss a game then, didn't he? You know, on a question of sport, that would have got a round of applause, that could have been sitting in there. You could have asked me questions about the up-and-coming European Championships, whether I was going to get a medal. You know, that really boring bit when David asked them a serious question and they say, yeah, I've had a few injuries, but we're quite confident.
Well, it just goes to show they know what they're doing, because that's the biggest laugh you've had so far.
Addiction?
Yeah, addiction.
Sherry, can I ask you a question? Are you addicted?
Have you seen on a question of sport now, Billy Beaumont has been in the chair instead of David? Fantastic. You know the lion out of Wizard of Oz? If the lion out of Wizard of Oz was in a car crash, it looked like Billy Beaumont. I was at the Edinburgh Festival and we went to see Airdrie play. Yeah. And when I swear this is true.
They played in the Edinburgh Festival?
No.
What were they doing? Airdrie FC performed The Real Inspector Hound by Tom Stoppard.
Oh dear, it's a bottle of pop and Real Inspector Hound about there in the league game. No, I was at the Edinburgh Festival and we went on the Saturday. We went to Airdrieonians to watch them play, and this is absolutely true. When Airdrie came out, the music they played was "Nobody Does It Better," which clearly isn't true.
Yeah, that's because there isn't a song called "We Are Crap."
Now, on a question of sport, 4 people would have walked out. 10 of them would have been panellists. Yeah. Just Bill sitting there going.
Now, let's let Alan himself explain.
I was addicted to pickled onions. A large chip shop variety. And one night I was at a party and overdosed on the pickled onions.
Of course, one advantage of being addicted to pickled onions is that you get the penalty area to yourself. Well, brilliantly, after that 45-minute round, the scores are David's team 0 and Gary's team 0. Round 2 is our photo fit round. David, Lee and Teddy, here's yours.
I don't know his name right, but the bloke nearest to us, he's in the Guinness Book of Records. Because what he does, he swallows rugby players and then he pulls them out of his penis.
I think that's definitely Mike Tyson.
Well, I'll give you one for Mike Tyson, definitely. Frank Bruno, incidentally, this week has said it's still his ambition to go 15 rounds with Mike Tyson. Another 8 fights should do it.
I went to Las Vegas to watch the fight.
Did you really?
I did, yeah. I got mixed up. I thought it was Tyson fighting Bruno Brooks. Which obviously I would have paid millions. So.
I think it's Rob Andrew.
Yeah.
Yes, Rob Andrews correct. He's known both as a gentleman and a rugby player. He always makes an effort to light a lady's farts for her.
We're a bit lost on it, really. I think the only one's Mark McGee we can think of.
No.
Jockey Wilson.
Jockey with the face you think is Jockey Wilson. Well, let's split them up and have a look. So it's Mike Tyson, Rob Andrew and Mike Atherton. And of course, you know what they say, when Atherton fails, the England team fails. And when Atherton succeeds, the England team fails. So, Gary, Rory and Frank, unpick this one. You don't get anything, incidentally, for Frank Boff. He's easy, apparently. So what we want is the hands, the hair and the face of the person carrying Frank Boff.
Very rare photograph of a woman tennis player actually picking up a man.
Well, that's Monica Seles then in the middle, you see. And that hair, if I'm not mistaken,
That's got to be your mate, isn't it?
I think that
your
might
mate,
be that,
your best friend.
the Nottingham Forest marksman,
That's right.
Jason Lee.
Jason Lee, boots by Mitre, shirt by Umbro, hair by Del Monte.
Now, you see, had it been Jason Lee who tried to stab Monica in the back, it would have gone right through the lemon barley water. 3 foot to the right. Muhammad Ali?
No, we haven't, that's not a
no,
suggestion.
just-
We just tested whether he said it or not.
No, it
Did you do that when you did your O-levels, Rory? Just filled them in and went, no, it's just a suggestion, mate, you know.
Like Rory did O-levels. You think up some stuff, you. Well, let's split them up and have a look. Monica Seles, we know. Jason Lee, we know. And Precious Mackenzie, the famous early 70s weightlifter. Precious Mackenzie's speciality was the clean and the jerk, or Gary and Rory, as we know. OK, so the scores at the end of that round are David's team with 2 and Gary's team with 2. Now, Gary's just told me that he actually knew it was Precious Mackenzie and they poo-pooed him, so I'm going to give Gary a point for Precious Mackenzie, but I'm also going to give David a point for being such a nice chap. So that means the scores are still level, and it's half-time, and time to make the teams work for Nout, as we ask them to provide the voices for a couple of sporting clips. David, Lee and Teddy, your clip comes from 1949, and the underfed toffs of Eton take time off from the horrors of rationing to play the famous wall game.
Hello and welcome to David Gower's School Days. And with me I have David Gower. I see, now here we come from the Eton Wall game, and the rules are quite simple, so the inbreds who come to this school. And there they are. What are they doing there, Dave?
Well, actually, they're just looking for the cannabis plant that normally grows up that wall.
Hey, it's in there somewhere, man.
And who's that chap on his hands and knees?
Well, that proves it. That's Ian Botham. I'd know that bum anyway.
Oh, yes. If there's a spliff to be found, he'll find it. And here are the chaps. What are they really doing here, David?
Well, actually, this is all a diversion for Mr. Grundy. That's him there, the history teacher, because he used to take time off, go behind the wall
There
and
he is.
shag the matron.
Ah, I see. Oh, there's Mr. Grundy. Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
Okay, lads, I've had my shag. Stop the game. Same time next year.
There they are, knackered, just like Mr. Grundy.
And that's the first wig I ever had.
Yes, the Eton Wall game, the most fun you can have at Eton and still be able to sit down afterwards. So, Gary, Rory and Frank, your clip comes from the gymnastics at the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona, and to help the TV cameramen practice for the event, a technician was sent onto the floor to run through a few exercises.
And here she comes now, the 12-year-old Spanish girl, Ruth Rollan. There's been a whisper of steroid abuse in this event.
Yes.
What do you think, Mary?
A little bit of water retention there, certainly. But no facial hair. In fact, no headshell hair either. Prepares now for a famous triple somersault and a crowd on the edge of the... a bit disappointing tonight, actually.
Not the run-up she expected, really.
No,
then.
and here it comes,
Oh, no, she's going to do her famous impression of Pope John Paul II now. Yes, here it comes. Oh, no, he's having a toot.
Attempted flight, a bit ambitious under the circumstance. Oh, there's Auntie Jean, all right. And the great thing about steroids, no underarm sweating at all.
That was from the Olympics in Barcelona. Gary Lineker, of course, spent 2 seasons at Barcelona, and he was very, very successful. Thank God Rory's here, the bearded fat ass. Right, round 3 now, and back to the game. Time for the teams to wield their electronic pencils. The 70s was a decade when many of us angered the fashion gods, and none more so than Mr. Kevin Keegan. This is Kevin Keegan, but we've electronically undressed him. What the teams have to do is draw in what they think he was wearing. David's team, it's your turn first. Remember, it's the 70s, so Rory's clothes might provide a clue.
We actually have a problem because we don't think that's Kevin Keegan, his body. He dresses to the right.
This is basically what you've removed from the picture, right? Right, similar sort of thing there. Because this is actually at Liverpool, and they've nicked his clothes, and he's up on 2 bricks. Either that or it's Wimbledon, and you have to draw the crowd in.
I would say this one's for the Newcastle fans, really. If you can just see his halo up there. And if you look really closely, you can just see the sun shining out of his arse.
I want to say, if that's the sun shining out of his arse, I'm not going to sunbathe in your garden.
Nice, the supermodel they put in the middle there, isn't it? It's just a little bikini on there.
David, that's a goalpost.
Gary knows what they look like. He used to hang around them enough. Might have stubbed your toe on there if you weren't careful.
Is that collar big enough?
He's got to have the Lionels, hasn't he?
You're going for waistcoat there?
Yeah, he's got to have, like, trousers about that wide at the bottom, hasn't
Well, it's actually a singlet rather more than waistcoat, sorry.
Those are his trousers.
Hold on, there's a small Indian encampment at the bottom. Let's lose your scribbles and let Gary's team have a go.
First of all, that's the scar where he fell off his bike on Superstars. Details, everything, isn't it, in this game? This is the, obviously a crash helmet. This was just after the blokes hit him over the head with a baseball bat in his Range Rover. Yeah. Remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah, we used to laugh at that springy 70s perm, but it saved his life that night. This, I never would have thought Kevin was so big in midfield. This is why he was known as Shanks's pony.
It was the 70s, so I presume he would have had his tank top on there like that.
Go for the lapels.
You've done the lapels?
Yeah,
what about the trousers?
lapels.
You couldn't see Shanks on the original
I think
picture.
it's just a shirt.
Sorry, he looks like an extra from Reservoir Dogs now.
Down the middle.
OK, well, let's get rid of the scribbles and dress him officially. Reveal the true horror.
Yes. Tank top we got.
It doesn't matter how badly drawn it is, you did say tank top, didn't you? I'm going to have to, I'm afraid, give it to Gary's team. So 3 points to Gary's team, which means at the end of that round, David's team have 3 and Gary's team have 6. It's time now for the round in which the teams get to finger the famous, Field the Sportsman. Gary and Rory, you're first. If you'd like to come around to the front, please. Yes.
There's a first.
Off you go. In this round, team members are blindfolded and have to identify sports people using only their sense of touch. So, blindfolds on.
Teddy. What are you going to say? No, a lot of people call you Spurs scum, and I'm one of them.
Yeah, you can say
OK, can we have our first mystery guest, please? And your 90 seconds start now.
Oh, big chin. Jimmy Hill? No. Wearing a big person. Wearing a shroud. Oh, it is Jimmy Hill. I think. A racket. A racket.
What have you got?
He's wearing. I haven't got anything. Is it Linford Christie? Let's check if it's Linford Christie. No. What's this? He'll be very sorry to learn. Nice hair.
All right, laugh again.
Going on nicely holidays this year? Big bloke. Have you tried the legs, Gary?
Yeah, the hairy.
But not unattractive, though.
You're really getting into this, aren't you?
Is it Gandhi?
You've got 5 seconds. I'll give you a
No
clue. He's
idea.
as British as Mum's apple pie.
Huh? Oh, is it Greg Ruzetsky or something like that?
I'm going to give you 1 point because the sound of the whistle was still just about going when you said it.
Oh, that's
fair enough.
No.
David and Lee, if you get... Blindfolds on? Yeah, I didn't look at me. OK, can we have our next mystery guest, please? The day Lee Hurst died. Your 90 seconds start now.
Is it RoboCop? It is! Oh, don't feed
You're
it.
dead, you're dead.
Is it a pit bull terrier? Is this Frank Bruno's gran?
Come on, Lee!
Frank, do you fancy being a regular panellist? I think there's going to be a spot.
He's an American footballer.
Yeah, well, I'm happy with that.
Yeah?
I mean, how big is he? He's not really
If
big
you can
enough.
open the door, it's not the fridge.
Is it the fridge?
Blimey.
American football, that's a good game, isn't it? So...
Do you wait till he's gone before you say
You're right.
He's coming back. He'll be back.
So the scores at the end of that round are David's team with 6 and Gary's team with 7. Now it's time for our final make or break round, the name game. But this week it's different. This week the clues have to be given in the form of impressions. No passing, no rhyming, and no mentioning the sport involved. So just to make that clear, Rory and Lee will actually have to do a proper impression of the person whose name is on the card. The winning team goes first, that's Gary's team. You pass that across to Rory.
Are we the winning team then this week?
You're winning at the moment. And your 90 seconds start now.
Now then, young man, it's all in
Brian Clough.
And you join us here.
Ted Lyle.
It's all in a brown paper bag under the...
Leicester.
I'm not an Irish man myself, but my brother should wear one. I'm not Irish myself, but I recognise Irish people.
Big Jack Charles.
Yeah. You cannot be serious, Gary.
John McEnroe.
Very good.
They're all the same.
If you're going to take the piss out of my hair, I'm going to go.
Gower, David Gower.
Very good.
Harvey Smith.
Extraordinary game here, extraordinary in the FA Cup. It really is
Rory
extraordinary.
Bremner.
David Coleman. John Moxon.
Yes. Peter Beardsley is the most attractive man I've dropped.
Kenny Dalglish.
Ray
Charles. Being in the position that I play, I don't have to put my head between the legs until I get to Kensington Palace. There's nobody there. There's nobody there. That is woeful defence. That's definitely a penalty. Definitely a penalty. Definitely a penalty. Do I not like you, Gary Lineker?
Grant Taylor.
Here we are on Radio 2, and it's a knockout game here.
Jimmy Young. Eddie Waring.
Stuart Hall.
Well, you did magnificently well there, so you've gone up to 20 points, which means that you need 14, Lee.
Yeah, right.
14?
And your 90 seconds start now.
And there goes Mansell. Murray Walker.
Grant, why are you doing this to me? You know what I mean? Quite extraordinary. Liverpool won, Arsenal did.
David Coleman.
Correct. And
he goes again, the bloke I just mentioned.
Murray
Walker.
No, the driver.
Manson.
Hold on.
Hello.
Mick the Miller. What?
No, there you go. I jump,
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I jump over and I kick.
Oh my God.
Eric Hampton,
Can I just say that Teddy said Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Hello. I'm the nicest man in the world, and I'm sitting over there next to the hairy one. I don't know the voice, but same.
Jimmy Hill.
Ow! Tennis player. Big tits.
Gaza.
He's on last week.
Chris Agabusi. Emily Hughes.
Not quite that.
That's too small.
No, I've got more hair than him and he swims.
Duncan Goodyear. Jimmy Greaves. He saved the sport.
I don't argue, boys. And fantastically, it means that the score is 20 all. Now,
Hold it, what kind of an impression is I've got more hair than him and he swims?
it's a very, very bad impression.
But it means he can get the David Gower quiz book out.
Exactly, David. We know from a couple of weeks ago that Gary's written a quiz book. Here we have David Gower's cricket quiz book, written obviously by David Gower. So as with Gary, I'm going to ask you a question from your book, which, as you wrote, you'll find a doddle. If you get it right, your side wins. If you get it wrong, Gary's side wins. OK, the question from your book is, who wrote David Gower's cricket quiz book? It's your choice. Tell the truth or lose the game.
Isn't there...
Go for the truth, mate.
The truth is, I've no idea.
Can we have a clue?
Yeah, it wasn't David Gower.
Was it anybody here?
His name was Peter Allen.
Ron Allen.
Dave Allen.
I'm afraid that's not good enough because you originally said Peter Allen and the name was Patrick Allen, so this week's winner is Gary Lineker's team. You made it difficult for me, Eddie. It was impressive, didn't it? Our thanks then to David Gower, Lee Hurst and Teddy Sheringham, and Gary Lineker, Rory McGrath and Frank Skinner. We're all off to look in the Radio Times and see what slot they've dumped us in next week. My name's Nick Hancock. They think it's all over. It is now.